Hey everybody, DoctorDeadwax, Mark back again to do another recent vinyl finds update. Still working my way through the first buy of 2012, but this is the second last one of that. So this is all stuff I got from like $4 to $8. First I wanted to touch on a couple things that I've mentioned in the past or whatever. Recently I was talking about this album, Fathead Ray Charles presents David Newman Fathead, and I said there was another presents Fathead album that was excellent. That's called A Cannonball Adderley Presentation, James Clay and David Fathead Newman, The Sound of the Wide Open Spaces. So if you see that or the one I just mentioned, I highly recommend them. They're worth grabbing. Look at that. Look at this shit, man. Fuck. Fucking Blakes, man. Look at them. Gorgeous. Alright, so $4 to $8. Jeff Lorber Fusion, guest artist Chick Corea and Joe Farrell, Soft Space, the second Jeff Lorber Fusion album on Inner City. And what can I say about this? This is a pretty good jazz fusion album. It's very close to the line of smooth jazz. For some people it might have already crossed over the line to smooth jazz, but I can recommend this. This is a good album. Does some things really well. I'm a little worried about where it went after this, but that was a good one. Next is I wanted Branford Marsalis's Trio GP for a hell of a long time, and I can never find it. I've never seen it in the wild, so but this isn't it. This is called Interchords. This is a series, I believe, of interview records that were done. This is on Columbia, and it's a demo pressing, not for sale. These were sent out to radio stations, and they would play these on the air. And what it is basically is Branford Marsalis talking about the choices and decisions that were put into making the music, or talking about jazz, or his thoughts on jazz, or whatever. And so it's like interviews, Branford, dialogue about the music, a song, some more dialogue, a song, some more dialogue. It's not the whole songs. It's clips up to like 6 or 7 minutes from the songs. I just wanted to hear what was on Trio GP, and I still want Trio GP. This is what I heard I really like. People say it's his best solo record, so I can see why they'd say that. Next is another white label promo. This is an Elektra white label promo of Donald Byrd, Thank You for Funkin' Up My Life, 1978. So this is getting near the end of when they were doing white labels. They used to, when they did a white label, they used to do a special stamper usually, and the records were actually individually listened to and graded, and they had like people whose job that was to listen to the records and grade them, and those would be sent out. The ones that passed the grade would be sent out, and like special markets would get the ones that were graded highest. Eventually, they just were sticking a white label on the first thing that came off the press, and then eventually they just stamped it and they sent out any old records. So this is getting pretty near the run. Is this a funk album? I don't know. This is a funk, smooth, jazz, disco, melange. It's got moments of everything. It didn't really blow me away. Next is something that kind of blew me away a bit more, which was Elektra Asylum. Let me see if we can see that. Funk Fusion. This is a promo LP. Again, white label. This didn't have the butterfly because it's the whole label, I think. Wow, I'm never going to get the hang of this. But this has some great stuff on it. This has 2 songs from this Donald Byrd album that I just showed, Thank You for Funkin' Up My Life, and another. And it's also got songs from Aquarium Dream, Lenny White, Joe Cocker, which is kind of funky, kind of disco, Patrice Rushen, and Lee Oscar are the artists who are on here. Again, this is 1978, so I mean, it's got a bit of a disco feel to the funk. It's not that kind of gritty earlier funk, but this again was $4. Great, interesting find, and overall it's a better listen than that Donald Byrd album. And you know, white label promo, one of a kind, or rare. This is pretty uncommon. I don't think it's actually. I would say it's uncommon. I would say it might be rare. I don't think it's highly desirable. So, you know, that's something you have to keep in mind. Just because things are rare doesn't mean people want them. Next is a couple albums from an artist I love, Donald Harrison. This is Terrence Blanchard and Donald Harrison. Terrence Blanchard and Donald Harrison replaced Brantford and Wynton Marsalis in Art Blakey, I think it was, his Jazz Messengers near the end. So these guys have some credibility, and again, a couple New Orleans boys. And this is Discernment. This is the last album they put out on the Concord Jazz label, the George Wine collection. This is a great album. Some songs they wrote, some songs are traditional. For example, they do like When the Saints Go Marching In, and it's actually excellent. It's not at all a caricature song. It's they really give it some of its. They give it something back, so it's quite good. I highly recommend this record. I highly recommend Donald Harrison. Here's another one, Harrison Blanchard. This is the last album they did together. This is Black Pearl. This is from 1988. This is on Columbia. They're only released on Columbia. I would say that this is their high water mark. This is fantastic modern jazz. If you see this record, I mean, I got the two of these for $6 a piece. If you see this, I recommend you picking it up. This is, you know, again, this is a $5 record on eBay. Terrence Blanchard, Donald Harrison, Cirrus Chestnut, Reginald Veal, and Carl Allen are the players, with guests Monty Croft, Steve Thornton, and Mark Whitfield. All the songs on here but one are written by either Harrison or Blanchard, and then one is by Bernstein. So this is great stuff. Now, Donald Harrison is he's playing in Chicago in the next week for like 4 days. I wrote Astral Traveler, and I mentioned it, and I saw him this summer there at the Jazz Showcase, and fantastic jazz. Second best live jazz act I've ever seen in my life after McCoy Tyner. So if anybody's in Chicago, I think it's $20. There were like 30 people in the room when I saw it. He was fantastic. Killer band. All of them were great players. It's kind of a bop, post-bop kind of stuff he's doing at those shows. So highly recommend it. Never heard back from Chris. I don't know if he got my message or not, but if anybody is in the Chicago area, he's doing 4 dates at the Jazz Showcase, 2 shows. I know you can go to like the 8 o'clock show and you can stay for the 10, so go check it out. Oh, and Donald Harrison also does the music for Treme, and he's been a character on Treme a few times now. Treme is made by the guys who did Homicide, Life on the Street, and The Wires, and Treme's awesome. I mean, Homicide and The Wire are like 2 of the best shows ever on TV, and Treme's getting up there pretty quick, and Harrison does all the music for that. So next is just a fantastic looking record, Crazy Baby, the incredible Jimmy Smith on Blue Note. This is Blue Note 4030. This is a microgroove mono pressing, deep groove. I'm not 100% sure if this is a first pressing or not. I think it is. I'm going to write Blake and ask him if he can tell me what's in that book, because I still haven't got my copy of it yet. Jimmy Smith put out a hell of a lot of albums. Let's face it, they weren't all good. There were some real dogs. And he put out some albums that are just fantastic examples of the jazz organ, like The Sermon and some other things. This is a great album. It's not up there with the top, but it's very, very, very good. Jimmy Smith on organ, Quentin Warren on guitar, and Donald Bailey on drums. When Johnny Comes Home, Marching Home, Making Whoopi, A Night in Tunisia, Sunny Moon for Two, Mac the Knife, What's New, and Alfredo. So not A-list musicians, not an A-list set, but still a pretty strong album. What a fucking awesome cover! This is my this is going to be my entry for Memphis Jim this month. Next is New Directions, Essay for Jazz Band by Donald Mack. This is Donald Mack's a composer, and this is an exploration of serial jazz, which was completely new to me as a concept, not something I'm overly familiar with. This is on the Serenus Record Editions label. This record's quite rare. Again, another rare record that has no value, but it was interesting. Again, this serial jazz, it's I can't really talk about it. I don't really know that much about it, but maybe somebody out there knows about serial jazz and can maybe do a quick video on it, kind of going into it a bit more and talking about it. And I'm sure there's a couple people out there that could definitely give us a lesson. And look at that cover. It's like a Miro or something, eh? Nice, what is that? Lino cut, probably. Fantastic. Next is Classic on ECM. I think this is on the Penguin 100 list. Not that that's the most relevant list, but I mean this is on it. This is ECM 1046, Dave Liebman drum mode. Dave plays saxophone. He's got like 8 or 10 drummers on here, and percussion, congas, tablas. Colin Walcott's on here, and anything Colin Walcott's on is just a joy. John Abercrombie, Bob Moses. The weak spot on this record is there's one track with vocals by Elena Steinberg. I'm sorry if I'm calling you out, Elena, but it's horrible. My wife walked into the room. She's like, "What the hell is that?" But the rest of it's great. It's got this kind of layers upon layers upon layers of percussion and an excellent saxophone work. This is when ECM was still being made by Polydor in the US, so 1975, I think. Next is a Monk's Greatest Hits, completely nebulous concept, the Jazz Greatest Hits album in my opinion, but I only bought this for one reason. It's in mint condition, or VG Plus to near mint, but it's an original pressing, 2i, and it's a dead first with 1A stampers on both sides. So how could I not buy a dead first with my obsession with the DeadwaX? So, and that's on 2i Columbia. Oh, it's looking a little peachy, not that good. A little peaked, just kind of a little crappy. Let's see if we can fix that. Yeah, the greatest hits jazz. I'm not a fan of greatest hits records in general, in any genre, but in jazz, I mean, to me, most jazz albums are an entity, something to be enjoyed from beginning to end, not to just drop the needle on one song and walk away from. So, but again, 1A stampers. Whoa! Look at that! Blake that shit! Blake that bitch up! Look at that! I could sell that to the Ann Overton of Audiophile now. Next is, and that would be me, Jazz at Preservation Hall 3, Paul Barberin and his jazz band, and Punch Miller's Bunch and George Lewis. This is a series that was put out by Atlantic in the 60s, I think 1963 for this one. When the Preservation Hall opened, a lot of the old guys, their bands had broken up and they'd fallen on hard times and stuff, and they got to put the bands together and have days at the hall, and it allowed them to revive their careers and make a little bit of money and stuff, and so they captured the performances. And this, I mean, New Orleans jazz, so much of it's just a caricature, just tourist music, and for me, because of that, I'm not a huge fan of it. This is just killer stuff. I've seen Woody Allen, for example, when he tours with the Preservation Hall band, and they were excellent. This is even a league above that stuff. These are this gives that music, takes all of the touristy caricature stuff away from it, and just, this is why this music was so great and why it was so influential in the jazz genres that followed. So I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend it. This has the first plate, but it doesn't have the first label, so it must have been produced in pretty low numbers. So I think this would probably date around 68 or 69, not 63. So anyway, there's a series of those, at least 4 that I know of. If you see them, I think you should think about grabbing them. Next is a record from Freddie Hubbard. This is a Super Blue. This is a radio station copy with a timesheet, white label promo. Again, 1978, near the end of the white label promo era. Not sure if this is his first record after CTI or not, but I don't know. I love CTI. The end of the CTI period for him, his CTI period was overly schmaltzy, far too much strings. This record is awesome. It's jazzy, it's funky, it's fusiony. It's excellent. It's probably, in my opinion, one of his best records from this era for him. And the lineup is incredible. Freddie Hubbard, of course, on the horns. Hubert Laws, Joe Henderson, Ron Carter, Jack DeJohnette, Kenny Barron with George Benson guesting on one song. This is $4 or $5 on eBay. Check it out. Super Blue, if you ever see this Freddie Hubbard record. He kind of gets back to what he was. So that's the end of the new vinyl that I got on that first buy. I got one more to do with the stuff that was a little bit more pricey, and then that's done. A couple other things I want to just touch on quickly. I sent Blake some inner sleeves. He got them. He likes them. Super West put up a video showing where he got some inner sleeves. Now he got them replaced that somebody else wrote me and said he thinks that they're the same as the ones I got, so I suggested to Wes, and I know Blake's going to contact him to send him a couple of those just to compare if they're the same as mine, and then we're going to see what Clear Bags can do for us. I'm sure Blake's going to keep us all well informed like he always does. Next, I was going to talk about expedits, but we're at like 17 minutes. Maybe I'll do a video on modding expedits and making them more sturdy. And so finally, Punk Texas John, he did that fantastic. Has everybody seen this? The fantastic VC yearbook of our record shelves, and just watching that, seeing everybody's collections and everybody's shelves and all the gear. I think I want to move into Beninsky's basement there. I'm a bit of a gearhead, and all that cool vintage gear that he's got just is highly drool worthy. And the one fella's got like 5x5 set up like a tunnel. I think there's 2 or 3 5. Oh. And then, you know, you can't quite tell do they have anything in them, and then he goes, the next shot's down them, and oh, they're packed full of records. Oh, I think I got a little aroused there. I think it moved. Maybe it was just adjusting. I don't know. But not that there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, have a great day. Keep the record spinning.